So we got to go ahead and get into this, basically a shadow drop release date for the upcoming Ghost of Yotei. Sometime in the wee hours of the morning, they decided to shadow drop a trailer that featured a little bit of what you can see or expect in terms of combat and a little bit exploration, even the story when it comes to who you're going to be going up against. And funny enough, shortly after Sucker Punch made this announcement that the game is coming out on October 2nd, the official Assassin's Creed account said that they got something planned to show next week, which I kind of find that very interesting that they decided to announce that on the day we get a Ghost of Yotei release date. How about that? If there's one thing I find obviously clear as day now, is that they're not just leaning into the Assassin's Creed comparison like I originally thought. They're really going hard with it, because this group that you're going after who murdered your family in a revenge plot, they're wearing masks. And this is something that I find very similar to what they've done in recent Assassin's Creed games, where you hunt down these masked figures one by one. But albeit it's a little bit different because it involves lore and involves hunting down who has the forbidden fruit of sorts. But I don't expect something like that to be in Ghost of Yotei, where we're hunting down this secret organization, you know, fighting their version of Templars and, you know, assassins or whatnot. Like, I don't think it's that, not even in the same ballpark. But they definitely got their inspiration from Assassin's Creed in that regard when it comes to, you know, hunting down these masked figures and get revenge, or to kind of reveal some type of secret plot that is bigger than what we think it is. Now, I know some people may not want to hear the comparison to Assassin's Creed. Let these two games and franchises be on their own merits, but keep in mind, Ghost of Tsushima was compared to Assassin's Creed and was called Assassin's Creed in Japan for the longest time before we got Assassin's Creed Shadows. And because of them same comparisons, Ubisoft went ahead and came out with Assassin's Creed Shadows. And even though I do think that is the weakest entry in the franchise compared to others, and I do think that Ghost of Tsushima in a lot of ways outdoes what Shadows has going for it, not only in terms of combat, but in terms of storytelling, in terms of open world content, especially, and how they handcraft the open world. And the only couple things I could put Shadows over Tsushima is in the sense of the lore and the stealth when it comes to Assassin's Creed Shadows. I thought it was very well done. Now, of course, there is stealth in Ghost of Tsushima that is very symbolic of Assassin's Creed. And even when you look at the initial reaction to this trailer, it has an overwhelming positive reception, it seems. Not only that, but it seems like majority of the comments is pretty much overwhelmingly positive. But even when it comes to the initial announcement trailer for this game, it had an overwhelming amount of positive reception to it. Now you compare that to Assassin's Creed Shadows, and it's almost like a night and day difference. I don't have to, you know, go back into it. We don't have to rehash that over and over again, and to the point you're beating a dead horse. But if you're just comparing both announcement trailers to the release date trailers and even everything else we've seen with Assassin's Creed Shadows, which we know will get a lot more of a marketing push when it comes closer to October, probably in a few months, and you know, sometime in the summer, June or July, whatever the case may be, it's just gonna get more and more positive hype the closer we get to this game. And in sheer comparison, people may look at both of those trailers and be absolutely blown away by Ghost of Yotei as compared to AC Shadows. Now keep in mind, the first game sold around 10 million copies, which is kind of in the same ballpark as Assassin's Creed. Maybe not as much as the behemoth that is Assassin's Creed Valhalla that came out around the same time, but still, like, that's up there with some of the games that they have put out with the Assassin's Creed Origins, Odysseys, and hell, maybe even Shadows to a degree. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Ghost of Yotei ends up outselling Shadows, or does about, you know, somewhere in the same ballpark as what Shadows does, albeit Yotei has a smaller team than what Shadows has, and it seems like they're able to put out a more polished game compared to what Shadows did. Now granted, in terms of polish, Shadows was a well-polished game. I didn't have that many flaws in terms of any technical issues that much. Maybe a couple clippings here and there and a few game crashes. And graphically, it looked amazing. Hell, stunning even. But outside of that, that game has a lot of problems. Problems that I think are not even going to be existent when we get Yotei. But all in all, this was not on my bingo card to wake up to this morning. But with that being said, y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Till next time, I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.